What's going on, Paisano'S? V here, coming at you with my Altergeist undefeated World Championship celebration deck profile 2-0'd everybody. This deck performed well above my expectations. If it was gonna be the Worlds list, I would have used Prank Kids, but for the TCG list, I used Altergeist, and I was shocked how amazing this deck did. I've been really also interested in these new Eclipse Blue sleeves. Feeling pretty good, guys. I ain't gonna lie. I'm more of a Dragon Shield guy, but Eclipse Blue's definitely feeling good for this deck. Playing Altergeist, I really didn't think the deck would get me my envelope. I was really a little bit worried. And after shuffling a couple of hands, doing a couple of test hands, I felt more confident, wondering to myself, why is everyone playing cards like Sengon? It's not needed in the main deck. It's only good opening turn, but once you're mid-game, Sengon is a terrible card. Salome Almirage is still a decent card. I didn't play in this build, but I do think it's really good. But I think Altergeist, just by itself, in this build, this Herald of Perfection build, man, it worked really well, guys. So let's go over the deck list real quickly. First is going to be one Altergeist Multifaker. Right off the get, everybody's really upset about Multifaker, Altergeist players, thinking that the deck's dead now because Multifaker's to 1. No. They give us Multifaker to 1, so we win a brick with 2. The deck is still really good. It's still really relevant. And with one Multifaker, I can recycle and reuse it over and over constantly because the deck's built-in game mechanic allows me to do so. So one Altergeist Multifaker actually is still very relevant. Up next, we still play one Altergeist Concuri, an amazing card. And the rest is the basic Altergeist lineup with 2 Soliloquies, 3 Marionetta, and 3 Melostique. Now, for hand traps, I decided to change it up a little bit. I felt like decks like Sky Strikers and Dracos can be a huge issue, as well as combo decks. And Ash is not as good against those decks. So the hand trap I decided to play over Ash, even though I still played Ash, is going to be 3 Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre performed excellent. And even though I didn't play against any Sky Strikers in this event, I did play against Dragon Spit and 2 Dracos. Both decks really had a hard issue getting over Ghost Ogre. Whereas if I had Ash, I felt like I wouldn't have had a better matchup. So I think Ghost Ogre at 3 is more better than Ash currently in this game right now. I still played 2 Ash, as it's still the best hand trap. But the Ghost Ogre definitely outperformed. And wrapping up with the last hand trap is always going to be Infinite Permanence, being one of the best hand traps that's realistically a trap in this game. For other traps, we ran 3 Solemn Judgments, and that's what makes this deck almost unbeatable in the mid game. I mean, you open with a Solemn Judgment, have your Altergeist combo down with a set protocol, this game is over. Why are you even playing and shuffling cards? I think Judgment is just a blowout card for Altergeist, and having it at 3 makes Altergeist that much more of a consistent deck. The other Solemns I ran was 2 Solemn Strike. Now, initially I was running Solemn Warning, and the reason why I opted to play Solemn Strike over Solemn Warning is my last reason my recent deck profiles with Solemn Strike, of Solemn Warning with Solemn Strike is Warning was great against Denko Sekka. Well, not many decks are playing Denko Sekka anymore. Being the fact that not many decks are playing Denko Sekka, we're going to run Solemn Strike, so we're going to Solemn Strike a Ghost Ogre or an Ash Blossom or Effect Veiler or whatever hand trap as well as Bounce Effect to allow us to resolve our onboard effects. So that's why I love Solemn Strike over in this build right now over Solemn Warning. Then we're going to run 3 personal spoofings. This is semi-limited in Japan, and the deck's still topping. In America, right now, at OTS Championship, this card overperformed for me. It was excellent. And running it less than 3 is just not a question. For the rest of the lineup, we are running 2 Protocol and 1 Manifestation. That's all you really need. You don't need to put 2 Manifestations in, because if you open with 2, you're technically going, at the very least, -1, depending on what's rested in your hand. That's why I think 2 Protocol Manifestations is infinitely better. Probably the spiciest spell of the weekend I've ran was Super Polymerization. This card was amazing. And with Super Polymerization activating during standby phase, so to not interfere with your Pot of Extravagance, you're going to be able to clear combo boards. See, a lot of Altergeist decks I see have 1 or 2 issues. Either they have a hard matchup against control mid-range decks, like 2 Dracos, Salamangreat, Sky Strikers, or even the Mirror Match, or they have a hard matchup against combo decks, and they side in and out for either. In this build, I made it perfectly designed to fight all decks. Every single deck out there. Super Polymerization is really good against combo decks as you're clearing the fields, as well as Sky Striker decks. And I'll show you some other cards in my extra deck over here of why it's good against that. And I really do think that this card is amazing right now, and a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players might want to start considering putting this in if they are having problems with combo decks at their locals. Next, of course, we ran 3 Pot of Extravagance, as it's probably the best draw power in the game at the moment, and 2 Power Duality. And I really struggled to find room to put 2 Power Duality into this deck because our side deck is very thin as far as the certain matches we had for the side deck. I want to make sure I have better access to those. So if I want Pot of Extravagance, it's going to let me go into the deck. If I want Power Duality, it's going to let me go back in the deck and allow me to utilize my side deck. Once again, I'm not running Sengon. So since I'm not running Sengon, I don't have that opening turn play that Sengon allows you players to have that are playing Altergeist. Once again, I still think Sengon's a terrible card. Mid-game, it's absolutely trash. But opening game, it really is good. So how do I balance that? Well, I'm going to run something like Pot of Extravagance and Power Duality to allow me to add more Altergeist cards. And speaking of which, I'm also going to be running 1-for-1. And once again, 1-for-1 is going to help us get into Meloseek, which is infinitely better than Sengon. Meloseek is going to allow us to hit board. It's going to go into Linkuriboh. It's going to allow us to add an Altergeist out of Marionetta or Multifaker. And we're going to have a Linkuriboh for defensive purposes next turn. Amarage is still a great card, but just not needed at the moment. I think the meta doesn't call for it. Can it call for it in the future? Absolutely. And maybe I'll do a pet build testing Amarage. But at the moment, 1-for-1 is definitely more better than the Sengon Amarage setup. And the last spell cards are Secret Vigil Spellcasters. Now, I do think combo decks are still the best decks in the meta. I think they're the heaviest decks in the meta, and they can definitely have a great turn 1 or even turn 2 depending on the build and variant. With that said, I think a lot of decks still have problems with spells, and playing Secret Vigil Spellcasters is just gonna win you games. And at this event I went to, I 2-0'd everybody, and one of my round 1 matchup was Pendulum Magicians, and opening with Secret Vigil Spellcaster won me that game easily. So I do think this is one of the best cards in general for the deck, and another option I can be searched out with Power Duality. Then again, if you're playing against combo, it's one of the first cards you're gonna side out. It's kind of like Upstart Goblin. Depending if it's pure Dragon Spit, in which I played against, and the card kind of did pretty decently against Dragon Spit because they run spells over Denko Sekka, or Sekka's Light. Alright, so let's go into the extra deck before I go into the side deck. For the extra deck, we have 3 Altergeist Hextia, obviously one of the best cards for the deck. 3 Linkuriboh. I might test out Solemn Amarage. To be honest with you, a lot of times when I Extravagance, I got 2 Linkuriboh hit, and that 3rd Linkuriboh definitely came in clutch, so I don't know, I kind of like it. Since we're running Secret Village, instead of running Clara and Rushka, I'd rather run a Cosmic Magician so I can have more damage on board. I felt that was more important. When playing against like Sky Strikers, if they don't have a good Link monster to go into that you can't answer, a Cosmic Magician is going to help you maintain high damage on board as well as have that Secret Vigil Spellcaster field spell. So I felt like that was more important to have. Then we're going to have a Borosaur Dragon, and for the Nightmare package, I ran all 3. I don't think I went into any of these 3, but there's always an option to go into them in the deck. That's the thing about Nightmares. You're never going to always want to go into them at every single event. But the events you do go into them, times you do play them, it does help you promote your game state that you're currently in right then and there at the moment. So I do like the Nightmare package a lot, and I'm probably going to keep this in as almost a staple. Now for our targets for the Super Poly, Predator Player and Traxtopia. The reason why this is so good because it's a fusion monster and dark monster. Also, when it hits board, you got its quick effect. You got put a Predator Plant token, a counter on one of your opponent's monsters. They can't activate that monster's effect, and that's pretty huge. It allows you to go against a fully established board, going into Traxtopia, and just stopping yet another card. So not only you get rid of 2 monsters, you're also stopping a 3rd monster, which is really good. Of course, we're running this 1 starting Venom Fusion Dragon. The Salamangreat Violent Chimera, because his Salamangreats are always going to be an issue. And now with Super Poly in this deck, and the way this deck is built, it's made to handle that Salamangreat matchup. And of course, one of my favorite cards that nobody really plays is Muddragon of the Swamp. 2 monsters with the same attribute, but different type. So the cool thing about this card is if you have Altergeist Multifaker, your opponent summons a Sky Striker Ace Ray, you're going to Super Poly, go into Muddragon. There goes their Ray, and now since you Super Poly'd your Altergeist Multifaker for Ray, now they're not able to activate the quick effect of Ray because Super Poly doesn't allow that to happen. Let's say they have a Shizuku on board, you have a Meloseek. Super Poly that bad boy away. Now not only are you going to clear out their Link monster, but you're also going to be adding a card with Meloseek. So I feel like either way, you're in a good position. And either way, with Super Poly, even against Strikers, the deck that mostly Super Poly doesn't really bother, you always have a way to go. I have an answer as long as I have this on my deck, Super Poly in my hand, an extra card to pitch with a decent enough field. And it comes up more than you think. I also played against 2 Dracos, and he had a monster on board, and I had the opportunity to super poly that. I think it was the water monster. I thought his name already. Anyway, I didn't actually, but the opportunity was always there for super poly to be activated to go into Mud Dragon. Mud Dragon also has a quick effect that a lot of people might not know about. Your opponent cannot target this card or monster in the field with the same attribute as this card with card effects. Once per turn, you can declare an attribute. It's a quick effect, by the way. This card becomes an attribute at the end of the turn, which makes this card kind of relevant. So, I mean, once again, the extra deck is very tight, but very good. If I had the opportunity, I would love to add more super poly targets. I would love to have more super poly targets, but for the most part, it worked really, really well. For the side deck, being the fact that the meta is not fully defined, I want to run a couple of cards that aren't fully defined, but are still generically good. Cards like Down and Wrestle the Prankatops, which is still a very good card that you can easily put in when taking out side deck cards you don't feel are as strong in certain matchups. Other cards like Artifact Lancia, that's good against any second variant of dragons. Another cards like Fantastical Dragon Phantasme, because I do think we're going to see Salamangreats in the meta, and I do think we're also going to be seeing dragon variants in the meta. They're going to be spamming up into Sabayuja. And I think that with the Fantastical Dragon Phantasme, that's going to allow us to plus, cycle, and grab the hand traps that we play so many of. We play, I believe, 8 hand traps, I'm not mistaken. We play a lot of hand traps, and Phantasme helps us cycle through those hand traps. Also, Phantasme, once again, going second against our opponents, is going to allow us to get to the Altergeist cards we need, so we don't have to make like 1-for-1 plays, or it's gonna remind us that we don't need Sangon opening turn and having a bad mid game with Sangon. To be honest with you, I have 2. I really want to get a third one because I do think it's really that much good in those matchups. For traps, we run 3 evenly matches. As much as I want to run this card in the main deck, with all these combo decks running around, you really can't. You really have to give up a lot, and then you're going to evenly match, and you're going to be left with a little against a combo deck that can, for the most part, have a decent game too. They're playing something like a Thunder Dragon. They're running Thunder Dragon in that combo deck. They're definitely going to get you turn 2. So this is why I decided to run evenly match on the side, even though I really wanted to run in the main, it just doesn't fit. It doesn't work at the moment in the current game state. 2 Heavy Storm Dusters, and the only reason I want to run this is because we want to get rid of back row decks, as well as Mystic Mind, which is still going to be running around. Now, I don't think this deck has a problem with Mystic Mind, being the fact that we have cards like Personal Spoofing, the Cycle Altergeist, so we can mediate our field, which is really good against Mystic Mind. But I do think we still need more, and Heavy Storm Dust is definitely that answer. I also play Imperial Order on the side. As much as I love Imperial Order, running 3 Solemn Judgments and 2 Solemn Strikes, Imperial Order is just a recipe for disaster. I love this card a lot. I think it's still a great card against certain matchups, but I don't want to have it in my deck in which I'll either dead draw or I'll play it when I have low life points, or open it when I draw it when I have low life points, and just question everything. It is a great opening card against decks like Strikers, possibly like maybe even 2 Dracos, but for the most part, I just don't think Imperial Order is currently needed at the moment. And the last card is, of course, the 3rd copy of Secret Vigil Spellcasters. This card's still an amazing card, guys, and it really locks a lot of decks down. It's one card based off your game mechanic, but in your deck that can lock up your opponent's deck down. Right then and there, that's it, it's done. That with Solemn Judgment and you set back row, meaning your opponent's not going to be able to summon a spellcaster so they can activate spells, is a pretty big deal. Once again, guys, this is my deck file. I went 2-0. I had a great time. I won my envelope. I won a playmat. I won a field center. For you guys who don't know, I'm a store owner. So Saturday, I ran the event in my store. And Sunday, I drove an hour to another locals to play an event. Went on the field, like I said, 2-0'd every single body. The deck outperformed easily. It's definitely still a real deck in the meta, and a deck I'm going to be looking to play in the future as my main deck in the game still. I love Altergeist, and I'm always looking for other decks, and I still play a lot of other decks, but Altergeist will always be one of my favorite decks in the game right now because it's giving me so many wins, so many regional tops. There's 2019 envelope to match my 2018 envelope that I got with Altergeist a year ago, and yeah, it's a great deck, guys. If you haven't played it, definitely try it out. If you don't know what it does, you definitely want to respect and learn what it does because the deck is a very great deck of attrition. And hopefully Konami makes some new decks out, or maybe some new Altergeist cards out. We'll have to see in the future. But anyway, guys, I really appreciate you guys watching my videos. Please make sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. You Paisano's, have a great day.